The night has been moving as if it expected nothing unusual. The room settled into its familiar silence. Moonlight slipped through the edge of your window and rested quietly across the floor. Somewhere beyond the walls, the wind wandered through sleeping trees, and the world seemed content to wait for morning. Yet I could not. I have watched this moment draw closer with every passing hour, and I would not allow this night to close before we shared it together. Tomorrow carries many things, but not this. This belongs here, while the world is still quiet, while your heart is no longer trying to outrun itself. Before these hours disappear forever, I need you to hear what has lived in my heart for longer than you know. You have wondered why certain memories return only after everyone else has fallen asleep. You tell yourself they are random, but I have watched them arrive with careful purpose. The unfinished conversations, the faces you cannot forget, the prayer that stopped halfway because tears said what words could not. You believed those moments drifted away, unnoticed. They never did. I remained beside every silence, collecting what you thought had been lost. There was a night when you smiled all day, convincing everyone that you were strong. No one saw how your shoulders finally lowered after the door closed behind you. I did. I saw you sit without turning on the lights because darkness felt easier than pretending again. I heard the question you refused to speak aloud. How much longer can I keep carrying this? Even before your lips moved, I already knew. I did not measure your faith by the volume of your voice. I measured it by the fact that you stayed another day. Do you remember the dream you quietly buried because disappointment taught you not to expect too much? You called it maturity. I called it grief. You folded that hope away like an old letter and placed it where no one would ever find it. Yet every time your eyes lingered on someone else living the life you once imagined, I noticed the ache you immediately hid behind gratitude. Nothing escaped my attention, not your kindness, not your restraint, not the quiet heartbreak beneath both. That is why I could not wait until tomorrow. If I allowed another ordinary day to begin without speaking, you would keep believing the greatest battle in your life is against failure, loneliness, or uncertainty. It is not. Those have wounded you, but they have never defined you. There has been another voice walking beside your thoughts for far too long, gently convincing you that you have already become the best version of yourself you will ever be. You have mistaken survival for your future. Here is what I needed to tell you before this night ends. The person you have been mourning is not only someone you lost, it is also the version of yourself you believed would never return. You have quietly grieved your own joy. You have attended the funeral of your own expectations without realizing it. You have lived as though hope belonged to another chapter that already closed. But I have not been preparing you to simply endure what remains of your life. I have been protecting parts of your heart until the right season could awaken them again. While you were waiting for a sign that I had not forgotten you, I was quietly rebuilding the very heart that would one day recognize the answer when it arrived. What you buried in sorrow, I have been guarding in love. The rain outside does not ask the earth whether it deserves another beginning. It simply falls. Watch how a single candle continues pushing back darkness without asking permission from the night. This is how my grace has worked while you believed nothing was changing. Even when your progress felt invisible, I was rebuilding places inside you that no human eye could have reached. Healing often grows where applause cannot. Soon, you will notice small things first. A lighter breath, a conversation that no longer terrifies you, a morning when laughter surprises you before worry does. You may call them coincidences. I call them reminders that my hands have never stopped working. Peace rarely arrives like thunder. More often it enters like the first pale color stretching across the horizon before sunrise, quietly replacing darkness without asking it to leave. So do not measure tomorrow by yesterday's disappointments. Do not assume that because one chapter was painful, the author has forgotten how to write beautiful endings. The stars outside your window are not struggling to shine. They simply remain where I placed them until morning comes. In the same way, remain with me. You do not need to force your future into existence tonight. Rest is also an act of trust. As this night gently gives way to dawn, let your heart become lighter than it was when we began speaking. Leave the weight you have carried beside me. Leave the questions that have exhausted you. Leave the fear that whispers you have already missed your chance. Tomorrow is not waiting to judge you. It is waiting to meet the person I have been restoring in quiet places all along. When the first light enters your room, remember that I reached you before the sunrise did. I will walk ahead of you into every conversation, every decision, every unexpected moment. You will not face tomorrow searching for me, because I will already be there. Sleep with peace instead of fear, with expectation instead of regret, and with the quiet certainty that my love has not finished telling your story. And whenever another quiet night finds you wondering if you are alone, remember this one, and know that my voice always arrives before your hope is gone. Amen.